Welcome to today's episode. Join us as we follow a man's journey as he builds a log home from scratch. Watch as he transforms simple logs into a sturdy and beautiful cabin, using nothing but skill, patience, and nature's raw materials. This is more than just construction. It's a story of craftsmanship, resilience, and living in harmony with the wild. Don't miss a moment of this inspiring adventure. The first step in his journey was all about precision and planning. He carefully measured and marked specific points on the ground, ensuring that each spot aligned perfectly with the layout he had envisioned for his future cabin. Once the layout was complete, he grabbed his tools and started digging deep holes at each of the marked points. These holes would serve as the foundation for the supporting posts. With the holes now ready, he moved on to the next critical step, placing the wooden posts. One by one, he carefully positioned each thick log into its designated hole, making sure they stood upright, firm, and evenly spaced. To connect the standing posts and form a unified frame, he needed horizontal beams long, solid pieces of timber that would tie the structure together. Using traditional woodworking techniques, he carved interlocking joints, simple yet highly effective cuts that allowed each beam to fit snugly onto the vertical post. This method not only ensured a tighter grip between the pieces, but also added structural integrity to the entire frame. To further reinforce the horizontal beams, he added extra vertical support underneath them. As the foundation became more secure, he moved on to securing the next beam. Timber was laid along the outer edges of the frame, marking the first clear outline of the structure. With each beam firmly fixed in place, the skeletal shape of the cabin began to emerge solid, symmetrical, and ready for the next phase of construction. Rather than relying on modern tools or metal fasteners, he chose a more traditional and hands-on approach. With a simple hand drill, he carefully bored holes through each joint where the beams met the posts. Once the holes were ready, he inserted sturdy wooden pegs crafted from the same type of timber to lock the joints firmly in place. With the basic frame now secured, he turned his attention to the forest floor. He collected the grass by hand, gently pulling it up and bundling it together with care. Though it seemed like a small task, this natural material would later play an important role in the build. Next, he moved on to completing the floor frame. Carefully, he connected the two remaining side beams, joining them with the existing structure to form a complete rectangular frame. Each beam was aligned with precision, ensuring the entire platform was level and square, a solid foundation for the home that would soon rise above it. But he didn't stop there. To strengthen the joints even further, he turned to the natural materials he had just gathered. Taking handfuls of the dry forest grass, he gently packed it into the gaps around each wooden joint. With the floor frame complete, he turned his attention to building the walls. This stage of the process required both patience and precision. One by one, he began stacking horizontal timber beams, carefully laying them atop each other to form the rising walls of the cabin. Instead of building each wall individually, he worked methodically around the frame, laying alternating wooden planks on each side. This approach ensured that the structure grew evenly and balanced as the walls took shape. At the ends of each timber beam, he had carved interlocking notches and ingenious joints that allowed the beams to lock tightly into one another at the corners. Back on the floor frame, he focused on strengthening the base even further. Along the inner edges of the frame, he carefully carved grooves and notches into the beams. Next, he planted more vertical support posts within the frame itself. These new posts were positioned strategically beneath key sections of the floor to distribute weight evenly and reinforce the overall structure. To tie everything together, he added horizontal wooden braces between the newly placed posts and the grooved edges of the floor frame. Then he fixed the boards up to create the surface of the floor. Returning to the walls, he continued stacking the timber beams higher and higher, layer by layer. Each log was carefully placed, with its notched ends locking seamlessly into the growing structure. The walls steadily rose, transforming the open frame into an enclosed space that now began to resemble a true home. With careful planning, he left intentional gaps within the walls, precisely measured spaces where the door and windows would later be installed. These openings were more than functional. They would bring light, air, and connection to the natural world outside. With each new beam added, the cabin grew taller and stronger, a testament to both craftsmanship and vision. At the front of the cabin, he began preparations for the porch, welcoming space that would extend the living area into the open air. To support the future roof of the porch, he first selected a set of sturdy timber beams, carefully choosing pieces strong enough to bear the weight of the overhead structure. He started by erecting 2 vertical support posts on either side of the porch area. Each post was positioned with precision, standing tall and level to ensure a balanced frame. Taking a long horizontal beam, he connected the tops of the 2 posts to the side walls of the cabin. This beam acted as the main support for the front edge of the porch roof, tying the freestanding posts securely to the rest of the structure. With the porch frame securely in place, he turned his attention to the floor beneath it. To create a welcoming and practical outdoor space, he began installing a wooden deck for the porch. As the final boards were fastened, the porch transformed from a simple frame into a fully functional extension of the cabin. Now, the space invited moments of rest and reflection. With the porch deck completed, It was time to begin shaping the roof, a crucial element that would protect the cabin from the elements. To start, he needed to establish the central support line of the roof. This would serve as the backbone of the entire structure. Carefully measuring and planning, he selected a long, sturdy horizontal beam, the ridge beam that would define the peak of the roof. Positioning this beam required precision. It had to sit perfectly centered, running along the length of the cabin from front to back. The ridge beam would act as the highest point of the roof, creating the familiar triangular form of a pitched roof. Working methodically, he began installing rafters-angled wooden beams that would connect the ridge beam to the side walls of the cabin. Starting at one end, he carefully measured and cut each rafter to fit perfectly between the peak of the roof and the top edges of the walls. With the beams securely in place, he turned his attention to the triangular sections at each end of the roof. To enclose these open spaces and further reinforce the structure, he began adding horizontal timbers across the triangular frames. Working carefully, he began placing wide wooden planks across the rafters, starting at the lower edges and working upward toward the ridge beam. Each plank was laid snugly against the next, creating a continuous, protective layer that would shield the cabin from rain, wind, and snow. To complete the job, he added trim boards along the edges of the roof. These finishing pieces not only framed the roof with clean, crisp lines, but also helped protect the exposed edges of the planks beneath. With the wooden planks fully covering the roof, he waterproofed the surface to protect the cabin from rain and moisture. To do this, he unrolled a large sheet of waterproof tarp, carefully spreading it across the entire wooden surface of the roof. Starting from one edge, he worked methodically, ensuring the tarp was laid out smoothly and without wrinkles. He carefully spread an even layer of soil over the entire roof surface. This layer of soil served several purposes. It added insulation, helped hold the waterproof tarp in place, and seamlessly blended the cabin into its natural surroundings. Gathering soft, living turf from the forest floor and nearby clearings, he carefully laid it across a layer of soil on the roof. Piece by piece, the grass was placed and gently pressed down, forming a lush, vibrant covering that blended perfectly with the natural surroundings. Turning his attention to the windows, he worked carefully to bring light and openness into the cabin. He began by framing each window opening, fastening wooden trim around all four edges. Once the frames were ready, he carefully installed each window. One by one, the glass panes were fitted into place, tightly secured to ensure both stability and protection from the elements. It was time to craft the main entrance, the door that would welcome visitors into the cabin and complete the sense of home. He began by carefully framing the doorway, adding sturdy wooden trim along all sides of the opening. With the frame in place, he turned to building the door. Using wide, well-sanded planks, he assembled a strong, rustic door by hand-joining the boards together with wooden crossbars for added strength and character. Every nail and fitting was placed with care, each detail a reflection of his craftsmanship. Once complete, he mounted the finished door onto its hinges and tested its swing. The wooden door opened and closed smoothly, fitting snugly within its frame. The cabin was no longer just an open structure. It was now a true home, secure, welcoming, and in perfect harmony with the forest that embraced it. With the exterior of the cabin complete, he turned his attention inward, beginning to craft a simple yet functional interior that would make this space a true home. The first piece of furniture he set out to build was the bed. He started by constructing a sturdy rectangular frame, carefully measuring and joining the wooden beams to create a solid foundation for the sleeping surface. But this is no ordinary bed. To save floor space and add a little creativity, he designed the bed to hang slightly above the ground. Sturdy metal hooks are attached to the corners of the frame and connected to the cabin walls. The result is a floating bed suspended securely from the walls, providing comfort and a light, airy feel inside the cabin. This clever design not only frees up valuable floor space, but also adds a sense of craftsmanship and elegance to the interior. Continuing with the interior, he began adding a few simple yet essential pieces of furniture to make the cabin feel even more like home. First, he built a sturdy wooden chair. Selecting thick, well-seasoned planks, he carefully cut and joined each piece, shaping the legs, seat, and backrest by hand. Next, he turned his attention to creating a small table. To save space and maintain an open feel inside the cabin, he designed the tabletop to attach directly to the wall. He crafted a smooth wooden surface and securely fastened it to the wall with strong brackets, creating a stable and functional workspace. Stepping back outside, he added one final touch to the front of the cabin, crafting a railing to enclose the porch and complete the structure's inviting look. Using strong wooden beams, he connected the vertical posts of the porch with horizontal rails, carefully measuring and securing each piece. This simple yet thoughtful addition served both form and function, providing safety along the edges of the raised porch while enhancing the cabin's rustic charm. To make the porch easily accessible, he added one final, practical feature, a small wooden staircase leading up to one side of the porch. Looking to make the space around the cabin even more functional, he decided to create an outdoor living area beside the house. To define this space, he built a simple wooden fence along one side of the cabin. Using upright posts and horizontal slats, he crafted a sturdy yet open enclosure framing the area without cutting it off from the beauty of the forest beyond. With the fence in place, the cabin felt even more complete, not just a shelter, but a harmonious living space where the indoors and outdoors flowed naturally together, offering both protection and freedom in the heart of the forest. To make the outdoor space even more functional, he set out to build a stone stove, a sturdy place to cook and gather around. He begins by carefully collecting solid, smooth stones of various sizes. Each stone is selected based on its strength and shape, ensuring it will fit the upcoming structure. Once he has gathered enough materials, he prepares a batch of cement. Mixing it by hand, he patiently works until the mixture reaches the right consistency. With the cement ready and the stones gathered, he began building the stone stove one careful layer at a time. Starting with the base, he selected the largest and flattest stones to form a strong foundation. Each stone was laid with care, using cement to bond them securely in plaque. After completing the base, he continued to pile stones on top, building the stove higher with each layer. With each layer of stone, the structure grew taller and more defined. When the last stones were in place, the stove stood firm and ready, a handcrafted centerpiece for outdoor living. To make the outdoor space even more inviting, he decided to add a simple yet comfortable bench to the yard, a perfect spot to sit, relax, and enjoy the peaceful surroundings. With the outdoor space now complete, the cabin stood fully finished, a handcrafted home nestled in harmony with the forest. From the sturdy wooden frame to the living green roof, from the cozy interior to the welcoming yard and stone stove, every element had been shaped with care, patience, and respect for nature. As he placed the final touches and looked out across the peaceful yard, a quiet sense of fulfillment settled over the space. And so, this chapter of the journey has come to an end. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you for following this journey. See you next time.